Madam Chair, you are live.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. At 5:04 p.m., I'm going to call the Wednesday, May 1st Quality of Life Committee meeting to order. May I please have a roll call?
Counselor Castro,
Present.
Counselor Michael Garcia,
Present.
Counselor Faulkner.
Here.
Counselor Chavez
Here.
and Chair Cassett.
I am here.
Have a quorum, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. Moving on to approval of the agenda. We have one change to the agenda, which is that item, what's the number? 8M, correct? Is going to be postponed as it was held at Public Works and Utilities Committee. So we will now hear this one on May 22nd. Are there any other changes to the agenda from staff or the committee? And if not, can I get a motion to approve as amended?
Motion to approve. Second.
As amended?
As
amended.
Thanks. Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to approval of the consent agenda. I had no items pulled in advance. Are there any items that members of the committee would like to pull now? Counselor Michael Garcia?
I would like to remove item I to recuse myself and item K.
Okay, so item I and K, any other changes at this time? And if not, can I get a motion to approve as amended?
Approve as amended. Second.
Motion and a second. May I please have a roll call?
Counselor Castro,
Yes.
Counselor Michael Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Faulkner,
Yes.
Counselor Chavez,
Yes.
Chair Cassett.
Yes.
Item approved.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And moving on to our first presentation. Hi, nice to see you in person. So we are moving to the no sales of nicotine to minors. We have Andrea McNeely here to present to us. And so I will send it over to you. Thank you.
No.
I think you need to turn on the mic and make sure that you get pretty close to it.
Yes.
It's necessary to be able to hear on the Zoom. So
Got it. Okay. I think we can hear me now. Perfect. So first of all, thank you all so much for having me here today. My name is Andrea McNeely, and I am the campaign manager for the No Minor Cell campaign. Usually I would have some youth advocates here with me from Capitol High School, but unfortunately they were not able to attend. So you'll just have to see my face. I apologize for that. But today we're just going to be talking about what No Minor Cell is and kind of our ask when we go to these types of meetings. So we'll go ahead and get started. So first, like I mentioned, we'll start with just a quick introduction about the No Minor Cell campaign so that you know what we advocate for and educate about. We'll talk a little bit about why we're specifically focused on flavored nicotine products. And then we'll wrap it up with how you all can help the campaign and sort of take action to hopefully see change happen. So what is No Minor Cell? No Minor Cell is an educational and advocacy campaign. And the main goal is to protect youth from nicotine products. And we're specifically focused on the products that are most appealing to youth, which we see are those flavored products mostly. And also we're just trying to educate retailers to make sure that they are not illegally selling those nicotine products to minors, which is anyone under the age of 21 here in the state of New Mexico. So that is our main goal, is to just educate and advocate, making sure to protect our youth from all of these different products. So as far as our campaign objectives go, our first one is to increase awareness of the problem with illegal nicotine product sales and access of those products to minors, as I mentioned before, and specifically of the flavored products. Number two is we want to generate strong concern throughout the state of New Mexico. And number three, we ultimately want to build support for the No Minor Cell campaign, which we'll talk about how you all can help with that in just a little bit. So first, before we move on, I just like to clarify that we aren't focused on traditional tobacco products. Those are the products that are used by our tribes for healing prayer and offerings. So we just like to clarify that that is not what we're focused on, preventing the use of. We are specifically focused on preventing the use of commercial tobacco products. And obviously those are mass produced. They contain high levels of nicotine. They're the ones that are being advertised by the tobacco industry, obviously. So that is what we're mainly focused on. As far as who supports No Minor Cell, I kind of touched on this briefly, but we have our Evolvement Youth Advocates, and we also have our Adult Volunteer Program. So Evolvement is pretty much a statewide movement where youth advocates are trained to support the campaigns. And they usually do this by going to community events, or they do partner presentations with local organizations. And then we also come to city council meetings or county commission meetings, or we speak with legislators just to get the word out, educate everyone, and try to gain support for the campaign. We also have our adult volunteer program. They do the exact same thing, but obviously this is for any New Mexican that's over the age of 18. And just so you know, both of these programs are funded by NewPAC, which is a part of the New Mexico Department of Health. And as you can see here, we've had quite a few students trained, over 5,000, and we also have over 60 volunteers trained since 2018. So why care about protecting youth from the dangers of nicotine products? I think that a lot of us in this room today probably have a story of someone that we've known that has used nicotine products, and obviously we know of the effects that it has on your body, but not just physical effects, also mental effects. And unfortunately, I've had several family members who have passed away from using tobacco products all their lives. So this is something that I hold near and dear to my heart, because our youth, our kids, are our future. And if we can stop them from using products now, they won't become those future lifetime users, and they will hopefully not have to ever face addiction. So what are the issues? Well, there are several, but one of the greatest concerns we have is actually one of these points here is that, you know, almost 80% of youth between the ages of 12 and 17, so that middle school, high school range, are using nicotine products because it comes in flavors that they like. So they clearly stated that the reason why they're using nicotine products is because of the flavoring, which just goes to show that the tobacco industry is really great about targeting youth so that they will continue using the products or be appealing, or it's appealing enough for them to want to start to use the products in the first place. And just so you know, the tobacco industry likes to call youth what they like to say is replacement users. That means that they replace adults who are dying from using tobacco products, specifically cigarettes mostly. So they of course say, well, how do we continue our sales? Who do we get hooked next? Obviously children. And they become the future users of these products and lifetime users, because addiction is very serious. So yeah, lots of very concerning stats here, and why we do advocate for flavoring to be something that hopefully gets eliminated at some point. The other thing to keep in mind is a health equity issue. Menthol is one of the issues with health equity. And we know this because the tobacco industry actually targets specific communities, such as Black smokers, LGBTQ plus smokers, and of course, youth smokers as well. You can see that over half of youth ages 12 to 17, like the middle school, high school range, use menthol cigarettes if they are going to choose to smoke combustible cigarettes. So obviously a concern, and why we think that this is a health equity issue. So something to be aware of, which some of you might already know, the FDA has tried to ban menthol cigarettes. So back in April 2022, they submitted rules to ban menthol cigarettes. And then the White House had until August of 2023 to finalize those rules. But obviously they have not done that yet, because the White House takes time to pass these types of policies. So they keep delaying passing the rule. And obviously that's why we need to continue coming out here to continue gaining support. So hopefully we can see policies like the menthol ban get passed. So fingers crossed. Wait, so you might be wondering, how can you all take action and help support the campaign and make a difference? So that's why I'm here today. The main way that you can do this is we actually have these No Minor Cell support cards that I can pass around to you all. They look like this, and basically it just has, your first name, last name, your title, if you're a counselor, city, county, obviously, and then there's a little section where you can write why you support protecting youth from the illegal nicotine product sales, or, taking down the tobacco industry. So if at this time we can pass this around, or if there's a later time that's better, maybe we can try to get these signed, and that would be really helpful.
Want to go ahead and give them to Marcella, and she can go ahead and pass them to the committee. Thank you. You can wait until afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, that's a great way to help support the campaign and just show that you all support No Minor Sale. So that basically wraps it up. No, there was a lot of information, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask now.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for reaching out to, want to educate us about this effort. Really appreciate you being so proactive there. Any questions or comments? Councilor Michael Garcia.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for the presentation. Just part of your campaign, does it target stopping adults or parents from smoking? And the reason I ask is a lot of the folks I know that smokes started at a young age, and most of it was because of their parents smoked, and it was just unfortunate habit that got picked up. And so I didn't know if that was part of the campaign as well, not only trying to prevent youth from smoking, but trying to get some of our adults to stop smoking as well.
Yeah, so ultimately, kind of what I mentioned earlier, we are an educational campaign, and we do advocate for policy. We're not lobbyists, so we're not going out there and specifically focusing on, policies that should get passed. We just kind of educate legislators about policies that are out there. And ultimately, with something like, there's potentially like flavor restriction, that would be restricted for everyone. So hopefully those who are using e-cigarettes or vapes would be less likely to want to continue using them if it wasn't in a fun flavor. So technically it does kind of trickle down into current users. But something that we like to note is that I believe over 90% of nicotine addiction starts before the age of 18. So obviously we want to protect youth from starting the products in the first place, because like I said, then they won't become those lifetime users. But ultimately the goal would be, of course, to help everyone to prevent them from using the products. But that's the big goal.
Right. No, thank you for explaining it. I know that, for alcohol, there's a similar campaign, but part of their strategy is to make adults aware that underage drinking is, one, illegal, and two, it promotes addictive habits that adults, you kind of bring that awareness with the adults. And I've seen sticker campaigns in the past where young folks will go into a grocery store somewhere and put a bunch of stickers on beer cases and 6-packs to make folks aware that, hey, we're trying to prevent underage drinking. So I don't know if there's any, that was the reason I asked what type of collaboration is there with adults besides policymakers such as ourselves to help to tell young folks, hey, it's not in your best interest, not only health-wise, but monetary-wise. I mean, I don't know how much cigarettes cost nowadays, but once upon a time when I was a smoker in college, they were like $9 a pack. I can only imagine how much they are now. And I think letting our young folks know that these are lifestyle choices that sometimes are hard to break. And having folks that have been through the process and advocate as well to say, hey, we don't want you to go down the same path we did. So that was the only reason why I brought it up. So thank you for the presentation, and I'll definitely sign your card. So
Thank you so much.
Councilor Faulkner.
I think one of the biggest dangers with, especially around vaping, is that I don't think it's made clear enough to consumers that when you vape, like one draw on a vape is like 3 cigarettes worth of nicotine. And I think that's really kind of upping the addiction to nicotine, especially about young people, because it seems so harmless. I think like cigarettes smell bad. Everyone knows you're doing it. Vapes seem really dangerous to me for young people because you can hide vaping anywhere and you can carry that vape everywhere you go. And so that I think I'm on board to help with this as well, because it is dangerous the way it's being marketed, like it's not that dangerous, when in fact you get way more nicotine through some of these delivery mechanisms than you would in smoking.
And I think it's really dangerous because there's predatory marketing towards youth. Like packaging that looks like highlighters. They say it's geared towards those 21 and older, but I don't know a lot of 21 and older people who are carrying around highlighters to smoke them. I think it's more geared towards a very easily concealable item that you could put in your backpack and the teacher won't take away. So yeah, not great.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from members of the committee? Well, I also really want to thank you for this work. My background's in public health, and I remember one of the articles that really stuck with me that I was reading, or a research paper, actually had to do with, it was about the food industry, but it was talking about how the food industry had really used the playbook of tobacco in order to, sell food that was leading to and really contributed to the obesity and diabetes epidemic. And the other thing that I used to do is I worked as a health coach, working with people for tobacco cessation, and to see individuals who had been hooked when they were young and had been smoking their entire life, and had all of these really, challenging issues, both with their own health, with impacting their children and their families, and work, and how incredibly hard it was for them to quit. And a lot of those conversations around, the best way to stop is to never start. And so I really do want to thank you all for this work, because, these ways of getting kids hooked have become much more insidious and much more, as you mentioned, there's these flavors that are so delicious, and they're bright colors, and it's fun, and it's, they really make it seem like a, cool and fun and, thing to do. And so, this work is really important. The education piece is really important. Very glad you gave us those cards. Please pass them around. And actually, if you would like to leave them, there are 9 of us on the governing body, so just 5 of us here, but go ahead and leave them for the rest of the governing body in case they are interested as well. And thank you again so much for being here. Please reach out at any time.
Great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Of course, of course. All right, moving on to item I. So this is request for approval of amendment number 1 to contract item number 23-0605, State of New Mexico Aging and Long-Term Services Intergovernmental Agreement number 24-624-4000-0024, decreasing the grant amount by $83,000, resulting in a new not to exceed amount of $230,120. There's a few components to this. One is request for approval of a budget amendment resolution, decreasing FY24 revenue and expenses for the Community Services Foster Grandparent Program by $27,000. 2, request for approval of a budget amendment resolution, decreasing the FY24 revenue and expense for the Community Services Senior Companion Program by $64,000. And 3, request for approval of a budget amendment resolution, increasing the FY24 revenue and expenses for the Community Services Retired Senior Volunteer Programs by $8,000. And Councilor Garcia, you had pulled this. Over to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I pulled this item so I can recuse myself, as I work for the federal agency that administers these senior volunteer programs.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We will ask you to come back in when we're done. Manuel is not here, but Director Sanchez Tucker is here. Does anybody have any questions about this item? And if not,
To approve?
motion and a second. May I please have a roll call?
Counselor Castro,
Yes.
Counselor Faulkner,
Yes.
Counselor Chavez,
Yes.
Chair Cassett,
Yes.
motion passed.
Wonderful. Thank you. Hold on. Be right back. All right, moving on to our next item. This is consideration of a resolution sponsored by Counselor Alma Castro, Counselor Pilar Faulkner, Counselor Jamie Cassett, Mayor Alan Weber, and Counselor Carol Romero Worth. It is a resolution calling on the New Mexico congressional delegation to advocate for an immediate ceasefire and an end to violence in Gaza and Israel, for the safe and immediate return of all innocent hostages and unjustly held prisoners, for the immediate increase and delivery of humanitarian assistance to Gaza, condemning all forms of discrimination, including Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, anti-Palestinian, and anti-Israeli bigotry, encouraging all residents to seek, invite, and practice civil discourse, expressing sorrow over the loss of lives and over the suffering endured by the civilians of Gaza and Israel, and extending sympathies to Santa Fe residents who have been directly impacted by the ongoing violence. This again was pulled by Counselor Michael Garcia. I will send this over to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I had pulled this item tonight because I've submitted an amendment to be considered for adoption with the hopes that it would be ready for introduction and signed, and I'm refreshing my Prime Gov, and unfortunately I don't see it. But to give a synopsis of the proposed amendment, it is adding an additional section in the resolution. This would be, let me pull it up. Hold on one second. On the resolution, it would be on page 3, adding a new section right after section 2, line 11. It would call for immediately restoring the funding for UNRWA. And then there will be an additional whereas clause stating that the funding for UNRWA was paused, and this will change the caption, so there will be language added to the caption. Unfortunately, this amendment is not ready tonight, as it requires the city attorney's signature, but it will be coming forward during the governing body consideration a week from today. So I just wanted to pull it for that consideration. And so with that, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Can I make a recommendation? As we frequently do try to do amendments in committee, we could refer this over to finance and have it amended at the finance committee. And that way we can make sure that it is attached when it does get to governing body. We are going to have a lengthy meeting that night because we are going to be passing the budget. So,
Right. And I'm just trying to think, because I don't sit on finance. I do not have the authority to introduce amendments. So a finance committee member would have to agree to introduce it on my behalf.
So both Counselor Faulkner and I do sit on it. I, of course, have not seen it, but, you know, let's have that conversation and then we can take a look at it. And if it sounds like something I'm happy to bring forward on your behalf at the finance committee, so we can go ahead and take care of that there.
Cool. That sounds good to me. Okay.
So, if we would like to refer this to the finance committee,
So then
I think we have to remove.
yeah, I'll remove my motion. And then you would have to remove a second.
Second.
Okay,
So I'll make a motion to refer this to Finance Committee and as well adopt this resolution as is.
and this would be to refer to the, just so we are very clear, the May 6th Finance Committee meeting, correct?
Correct.
And is there a second?
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. May I please have a roll call?
Counselor Castro,
Yes.
Counselor Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Faulkner, Counselor Chavez,
Yes.
Chair Cassett,
Yes.
motion passed.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Moving on, we are going to matters from staff.
Madam Chair, members of the council, good evening to everyone. Just have a couple of updates from my end on community development. This Saturday, the public schools, Santa Fe Public Schools is hosting a golf tournament. I attended last year. It was a lot of fun, but I can't do this year. But this Saturday, there is a charity golf tournament sponsored by the Santa Fe Public School System. And then on the 9th, our partner Creative Santa Fe is hosting a Pecha Kucha. And so that's a really fantastic experience if you've never been to one. But the Pecha Kucha is happening at Site Santa Fe. And then on the 16th, in partnership with Affordable Housing and HomeWise, there is a livability series titled Make Land Policies Work for All. And three of my staff from land use are actually on the panel. So very excited about having my team be a part of this livability series. And then also want to just do a shout out, as they say, to Councilor Castro. She attended the Creative Mornings event a few weeks ago, and she had a beautiful opening song, 2 songs actually, and it was really great. And it was a re-inauguration of this series called Creative Mornings, where the whole creative industry gets together. And then just putting a save the date in everyone's minds, on June 10th, the Land Use and Planning Department is hosting a convening for our community, our ecosystem for land use, which we invite one and all, especially our counselors and policymakers, but it's focused for architects, construction industry, developers, and land use planners. And so we're expecting at least 100 people to come to that on June 10th, and it'll be at the convention center.
Do you have a time for that, Rich?
It's going to start at 8:30. And there'll be a save the date, hopefully going out tomorrow. I have to check in with my team to see if they finished the editing, but that's there. And then lastly, last week at the Finance Committee meeting, I made an announcement that as of June 30th, after 45 years of professional and personal services, I am retiring from the city in public service. So I'll be big number in June, and that's my June date, but I wanted to share that with the committee here. And it's been a great experience, and I still have a couple more months, not a lame duck yet, but I just wanted to make sure that I publicly let everyone know in the committee. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Maria?
Thank you, Madam Chair and Councilors. I don't have much tonight, but I hope you have all seen the NEA Big Read Santa Fe Reads Circe. This year, there's many events going on throughout the month. So if you look at the library's calendar, there's something for everyone. A lot of fun going on, but I would like to invite you on May 16th. I guess we have a competing program, but Madeline Miller will be in conversation with a professor from St. John's. There will be a performance by Las Paraguas ahead of time, and there'll be wonderful food provided by YouthWorks. So this is on May 16th at 5:30 at the Convention Center. And the library partnered with the Literary Festival this year to kind of kick off their literary festival and kind of combine resources so that we can support reading throughout the community. So just wanted to invite you to that. And there was an update sent out about pool hours for the month of May. We're doing some work at Salvador Perez. So that will be closed for the month of May. There'll be different hours at Fort Marcy. So if you have any questions about that, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you. Loretta or Marcella, anything from you? None? All right. Matters from the committee, any matters from any of you? Matters from the chair. Director Brown, I've already said this a few times, but thank you. We're glad we have 2 months with you. So we will wait until then too, but really congratulations. Very exciting. And other than that, our next meeting will be Wednesday, May 22nd, and at 5:33 p.m. we are adjourned. Thank you.